Thank you for joining me. I'm Alex, and I would like to talk to you about IBM today. So what IBM does is they build servers, they build supercomputers, and they build business machines in the more classical kind. They actually have a quite diversified portfolio of things that is business-centric. It's pretty much been centered around the servers lately, but they do so much more. So current price is $135, which gives them a market cap of $120 billion. They have a dividend yield of 4.8%, which is quite nice, with a payout ratio of 74%, which is decent. Current revenue, almost $80 billion. Current earnings, $8.7 billion, which is up 60%, which gives them PE of 16, which is also quite nice. Total assets, $123 billion, slightly down. Total liabilities also slightly down, $106 billion. Total stockholders' equity of $16.8 billion, which is also slightly down. Now, the trailing 12-month are not quite as good as the past year was. And the earnings, even though it's a growth of 60% from the previous year, it's not a growth from the year before that, which was, I believe, $11 billion. And the year before that, which I believe was $12 billion. So the trend is down in the earnings. The revenue is also trending slightly down. So all in all, that is not great. But a PE of 16 is certainly great. Dividend yield of 4.8% is certainly great. Payout ratio of 74% is good. And the balance sheet doesn't look terrible. Obviously, it doesn't look great with only a 1.2 to 1 ratio. But overall, I would say that it's a very solid stock even right now. And I think it's a very solid stock for the future as well. So obviously, growth investors are out. But dividend investor, 4.8% is a really good dividend, considering the payout ratio, considering the long-term growth, considering that the company has been around for, I don't know if it's over a century, but they've been around for a long time. So they kind of know what they're doing. So I think that if you're a dividend investor, this is definitely a stock worth looking into. Definitely look at quarterly results, though, because the trailing 12-month is not quite as good as the past year was, but it's definitely not bad. For a value investor, I think that the balance sheet is good enough, the PE is good enough, and the dividend is a nice bonus. And so I would say that for a value investor, this is also a great stock worth looking into. Obviously, do your own research. Do a little analysis of the risk factors, which I believe nothing's changed there in the past 10 years. Obviously, AMD is resurging, but IBM built servers with AMD chips as well, so they're not as much of a competitor as their supplier. Because the IBM processors are quite different from the AMD. The whole architecture is different and everything. So I wouldn't say that they're so much of a competitor, really. So to sum that all up, growth investors are out, value investors are definitely in, and dividend investors are also definitely in. So obviously do your own research, but I think this looks like a good stock for even a very big position. So that's it for me for today. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I'm coming out with more videos every day before market open. I hope you have a successful day.